Eddie Crawford is in the studio this morning, and one of the things that Eddie Crawford is most proud of is the Irish Cultural Garden, which was started in 1939, but the man responsible for the restoration of that is Eddie Crawford. Eddie, welcome back to the program. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Mr. Quinn.
So listen, the garden is looking well. I was there the other day. Fountain is running.
I was there this morning. It's a grand day. It's a beautiful, sun is out. We have clearly the greenest garden of the ones down there. There are a lot of wonderful gardens, but ours is clearly the greenest. What is interesting to me is I was talking with someone last week, and they asked me how to get to the garden. I thought everyone knew how to get to the garden. But just to remind my friend, if you're coming from the west side, you would come along the shoreway past 55th Street, then 79th, and exit on Martin Luther King Drive, which used to be Liberty Boulevard. Turn right and go south. You'll go under one bridge, the second bridge. Just before the third bridge, you'll see the fountain. It's glorious. It's sparkling. It's sitting virtually in the middle of the road. It appears when you turn the corner. Pull up on the left-hand side, go up around the garden, and park. Again, it's 4 acres. It's unbelievable. It's like you've stepped back in history. If you're coming from the east side, just get off on Martin Luther King Drive and do the same. Go south, and you will really take today. It's a beautiful day. Take the children. Go down there. You have a picnic. You will never regret it. This is the time to really expose yourself to the garden and its beauty.
You have a great volunteer staff that works there, Eddie, don't you?
Well, sometimes we have more volunteers than we have work for them, but it is a big piece of property. We're really proud of all the trees we planted 2 years ago when the tea shack was here. Mm-hmm. The 14 pin oaks down there, and they're in bloom. The fountain is glorious, the Lennon Fountain. It's really spectacular to see it, but it's just a wonderful place to be, and all of our Irish people here in the community, and others, and there are a lot of folks outside our community. There's stopping there, there's weddings there, there's parades there, there's pictures there. Pretty soon there'll be more pictures of that fountain and probably of the Terminal Tower. Not a bad start.
No, it's not. The community, thank you for being the inspiration and the financial support to get that thing going again. And it really is it's the jewel of Cleveland right now, the Irish-American jewel of Cleveland. There's no question about it. We're all very proud of it. And of course, we thank you. But could I talk a little bit to you about your career and coming to Cleveland? Tell me about the time. Let's go back to 1948. When the Crawford family came to Cleveland. Where did you come from?
Well, it's dangerous talking with you, Quinn. You put an idea out, and I don't expect you to come right back. It's like a rebound, but I'll go through that story. It's part of the family inside, the walls. But we're very proud, and it's very simply. My father was an electrician, and in 1948, on June 6th, he decided to go with Mom and the 3 boys and go to California. That's where everyone was going at the time. That was where the richest were. That's where the gold was supposed to be in the streets. Clearly, we had a lot of Irish families and uncles and Healys and McCarthys all over the Queens. But we left one fine day, and of course there was a New Jersey Turnpike. So we went south on New Jersey Turnpike, and then turn right, which would be at that point going west, and the Pennsylvania Turnpike. But all of a sudden, like a second or third day out, there was no turnpike. We got off it, and we went north on Route 7 in Ohio, the first road going north, and turned into a community called Conneaut, Ohio. Well, Conneaut, Ohio played a very important part there because that was my first introduction to Ohio. And incidentally, our company is the largest employer of individuals, we're talking about hundreds, not employees, in Conneaut, Ohio. We're very proud of our operations we have there. But we turned west again on Route 20, and on I think maybe June 18th or 19th or 20th, right in that category, we were going right on Route 20, right through downtown, which we had the path all the way to Chicago, Route 20, and the truck blew up. And when it stopped, it was smoking, and it was obvious it wasn't going to go any further. So my mom and three boys and my mom, we started looking for apartments on the west side and east side, and we ended up in that one day renting an apartment in Grandview Avenue in Cleveland Heights. There's a Firestone gas station there. I always remember getting off the bus and walking up that hill, which I still remember very well. In fact, I remember because it was my paper out later on the Plain Dealer. And right by the Firestone store, walked up and moved into a building there in a basement apartment, and that was the beginning of our family's experience in Cleveland.
Well, let me jump ahead a little bit. Why go into business? Why did you decide to go into business?
To me, I was at John Carroll at night school, and I was working for a company called Inland Steel Container, and all the big steel companies had container companies, and it just seemed to me that for some reason I just felt that I could, we could make those steel containers. And I was calling on the accounts, and I was sales, and I was young, but I had a friend of mine. We loved motorcycles. We still had them. I still have Harleys. And I figured if he could fix my Harley, he could figure out how to make steel pails. But the long and the short of it, it just was an inspiration one day to do it. And it's been no turning back, being an entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur like I am, and supporting serial entrepreneurs as I have. The way to describe an entrepreneur is just like an extra gear in your head. You don't know where it is or where it came from, but it keeps kicking in and kicking out and says, do something. How about you? Why not now? And I lecture on entrepreneurship all over the world, and particularly I enjoy going out to Case and in Tsinghua University in China and so forth. And the word is something, when they get around to really getting inside an entrepreneur's head, you really have to say, what's in there that makes it work? What is the thing that carries them through the really, really, really difficult times? And if I ask a class of 100, what is the one word that describes an entrepreneur, particularly an American entrepreneur, and that would be, they immediately jump at the idea of risk. I don't think of it as risk. When I get around to answering the question, it's the ability to handle rejection. Entrepreneurs have a gear. They have some ability that no. Most people, particularly when they're younger, get shattered by the concept of not being accepted or not liked or not being able to do, or someone doubting their commitment or their challenge. Others take that in and turn it into energy. So I've been fortunate enough, I think it was a gift from God that when you come at me with negative ideas and emotion and so forth that I perceive is, normally people hesitate. To me, I put it through my system in mentally and emotionally and come out stronger. Not 2 weeks later, then.
Okay. Why did you pick the particular business? Was that because of your background in the steel business?
Well, it's like they say about, why do you rob banks? Well, because the money's there. It was the same thing. This is the only thing I knew at the time, and there's some fun experiences about starting a business and buying the equipment, and I was always proud of that, and I was really happy when we got the equipment, and we all got it we could run, and we finally made our first pails, and we're all excited, and it's at 2720 East 79th Street.
Kayla, talk to me about that, starting the first part of it, the business, when you started the pail business.
Well, I was, we got the equipment, we had the idea, we had the energy, people said no, we still got it done.
Which is a large Cleveland-based company. Eddie, we left you a few minutes ago when we were talking about your first company. What happened to that company?
Well, again, back to rejection and the concept of being an entrepreneur. Often there's at least one tragedy or a story in their background that they remember the most. And clearly when I started and we started this business in 1961, the business got off to a great start. My partner was unbelievable in what he could accomplish. And I was out there selling the idea, we're raising the money. But there's a concept in business called preemptive rights. So if you own a piece of a company, and let's say you own 70% of it or 80% or 100% of it, and you raise money to grow the company, which we were doing between 1961 and 1969. In fact, the company grew so quickly and virtually made a profit from the first year. I was the SBA Man of the Year in Ohio, that year and runner-up in the country in 1969. I was very proud of that. But every time we grew the business, we had to sell stock, and I mentioned there was no capital in our family, so I kept getting reduced and having less and less shares. And then in 1969, I thought I broke through with the incredible opportunity for the company to move in from steel pails to plastic pails. And I went to U.S. Gypsum, our largest customer, who were buying steel pails, and convinced them that plastic was the answer. They agreed. They gave us an order. We raised more money, and it wasn't. I was a real minority at that point, and it never dawned on me this could go the wrong way. And then I was called into a meeting with some of the board members, and as I was raising the money came from all one particular group. I didn't realize that, and they had the capital, and they enjoyed it, and made the investment. So I was called in one day, much to my surprise, and to explain to me that they were going to hire a new chairman and CEO of the company, and that I could continue in sales and being the president. And I asked them what was going on and what had happened, and they gave me some ideas of, again, you're not trained, you're not educated well enough. There are many, many reasons why I was going to the sidelines. And I asked, well, if I'm not capable, how did we get from zero? Well, that meant very little to them when they thought about it. And I was pushed, literally to the side. And I stayed there for about a year, and then I was very frustrated and just literally walked out of the building one day. And fortunately, I had some friends, and I got a job in Philadelphia. And then I came back, and as one of my great mentors said to me one day, Ed, the only way this is going to work out is you just start all over again. You did it once. I'll help you. You've got the ability. You got the drive. That's how you win. So go do it again. And I'm here today as part of that extension of doing it again.
What year was that?
That would have been 1970. This happened. Bad news came in Well, my son Matthew was born in 69. That was a big year for us. I would say it was 70, 71 at the latest. So we really started the new effort in 1973.
Now, was that the beginning of Park, Ohio?
And that was the beginning of the Crawford Group, which was our own companies, which incidentally I owned 100% of. And that led into taking a position in 1992. Park, Ohio at that time was $60 million in sales, and today we're $1.4 billion. So we've been able to grow the business from a very low number to a very, not impressive, but a level that we are currently happy with. We think we'll be bigger. I am fortunate to have my son Matthew in the business, and this company's succession. We're going forward. This is not going to be a company that's going to get sold, and we're very proud of where we're going, and we hope the grandchildren will be interested.
Now, you are a public company.
Yes.
You're on the stock market.
Yes, we are.
How many employees do you have?
It's close to 5,000 now, worldwide.
So there are 5,000 families. You are supplying a living for 5,000 families. So that's probably at least 15,000 people, plus probably the ripple effect from that. So you're responsible for the livelihood of probably 50,000 people.
Well, I'm not responsible for that. What I'm responsible is do my part of the bargain. They're out there working every day.
Yeah.
And I think at the plant in Conneaut, when you've got 300 people, they work every day to get there in the morning. At 7 o'clock, they perform what they is part of the bargain, and I'm supposed to, and management's supposed to be smart enough and work hard enough to make sure that they don't lose their jobs. Mm-hmm. And in the business we're in, we're always the most competitive. It's quality products at the low cost. So this is, I don't look at it that way. I look at it on the basis that they have part of the responsibility, and I have part of the responsibility, and they look to me not to make mistakes and to do the right thing with capital and not be stupid. Mm-hmm. I look for them to be out there every day and make the products I promised my customers, our customers, that they were going to get. Mm-hmm. So it's a bargain. It's not an individual one-way street.
Okay, it's very diversified now, Park, Ohio.
Yes,
right?
Very diversified.
Mostly manufacturing, though, right?
Well, it's manufacturing, selling manufacturing companies. A little over 25% of the business is international. We are very active. As you know, we have recently made a couple acquisitions in Ireland and in England. A lot of the reasons we're there and active there is, of course, the tremendous burden on the U.S. manufacturing companies. We have the highest tax rates in America,
In the
America,
world.
in the world. Governor John Kasich that's been doing, the right things. This Jobs Ohio, led by a good friend of mine, Jim Bolin, has done wonderful things in a very silent way. But again, the taxes have been reduced, all the simple things. But Ohio is really on a roll from the standpoint of job creation. And we don't really reach out for any help outside our own corporate activities, but I know personally of 2 or 3 successes that the state of Ohio has had with small businesses, which I've been involved in. So they're very active, they understand it, and if you listen to anything about Ohio, where it's going, it's jobs, 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 and this is important. And he's someone, I think that he's surrounded by individuals that know what the issue is, and it is about small business. Sure, they'll help big business, and they'll do, but they really have a group in Jobs Ohio. They really can start for someone that wants to start a little florist shop or something. There's no size to what they are not interested in, and that's wonderful. I mean, it's great to be part of a big program with a big company, but let's talk about all the small companies that
What would you consider a small company, Eddie?
25 or under employees.
20 what?
25 or under.
25 or under. Now, is your company, you're considered a big company, so.
Yes, we're considered a big company.
What's the
We're not big.
5,000?
I mean, when you think of our size, we're a big company, but we're my goodness gracious, there are companies.
Compared to Eaton Corporation.
Well, I mean that's, you're talking, big companies. We actually, we are a very small publicly traded company.
Mhm.
A very good one, but we're small, but we're not so small anymore. We'll get bigger, but we have Eaton in here with 30 billion in sales, and Parker and other companies. But that's great. But the amount of jobs they're going to create here in Ohio or in America, will do more with the small employees. I was there. I started a small business. I still have small businesses, in the Crawford group, and that's where the action is. I mean, it's strange, but 50 here, 25 there, 45 over here. A bar opens up over here. Someone owns a popcorn store. I mean, ever, this is good stuff, and it's real.
All right, let me go over to Ireland because I know you're there frequently. How do you, what do you do for entertainment over there? You don't hit the pubs, do you?
Yes, I hit the pubs with my friends.
Yeah, I didn't think
I don't want
this
to. I don't want to go
guy's
outside, drinking my. No, we are in Cork. My family's from Cork. I'm a Cork man, and we're just really 35 minutes from Kinsale, so we're down there in the restaurants right on the
famous
water.
fish restaurants, right? They're
Yeah,
famous for
and
them.
that's very exciting. But I really happen to, I'm very, as you know, very partial to Mayo country up there in the northwest. I think that's a very beautiful part of Ireland, Clifton. So when we're there, we're working and we take time and play a little golf, but we're basically there and building a business, and it's exciting. Look, at the Irish attitude is incredible. When you think of the pressure that country went through with the UC, they made the same mistake in Ireland that they made in Spain and all over Europe by spending too much on real estate. The Irish got drunk on real estate. The banks got drunk on real estate. But look at when it crashed. You didn't hear any whimpering or crying from the Irish. They just they were in the streets like in Spain. They said, okay, fine, we had a bad trip here, okay? And they went back to work. And that's very important. It's very, very important. And I will tell you, they're doing very well. Ireland is doing very well, and this idea, they have the lowest tax rate of any, real country. Not that, I don't know how I would define that, but I mean the tax rate there, corporate tax rate there is 12%. And the IDA was in here recently, and they're in here all the time looking for opportunity, looking for people. So I'll tell you something, they're very, very active. They're very, very active in America around jobs, job creation in Ireland. It's exciting, but Ireland's doing very well.
How's the workforce? Do you find them good at what they do?
Well, number one, you find them educated, and they're, yes. One of the things, the jobs there, a little, you wouldn't think of it, but there's a technology companies there. A lot of technology, high-end, great paying jobs and so forth.
Apple is close to where you are there, right? Apple
Yes,
Computer?
but there are many, many companies. There recently, well, just think of the merger between Eaton is now Eaton, Ohio is now a Dublin-based company, and there are companies all over the world, really very strong companies that are moving in there. They like the workforce, they like the stability, they like the country. It's fun, but it's a great place to do business, and it's pretty exciting to listen to them. And when they were here, they're really trying to help. So there's no crying and moaning about what happened. They're just, everyone's back to work, and we're still having a good time. It's a great place to go, but it's not a tourist town, tourist country as it was at one time. There is a lot going on there.
And there's a huge American presence in business, right?
Well, there's only second. I don't know. It's right in there with the Germans. I mean, the Germans are tremendously embedded in Ireland. They always have, and they're there, and the Americans are there. That's from the standpoint of commercial activities and long-term view, that's a pretty good group right there. When you say who's going to be in manufacturing, who's going to make products, and who's going to be has the stability. No, it's a wonderful place.
Okay. All right.
You gotta say something about giving away.
What would you advise a young person today if he's contemplating going into business, going to college, or whether a college graduate or a high school graduate? Is there any advice that somebody like you that's really started from the bottom and pretty much made it to the top? What would you say to them? What should they do?
Well, Mr. Quinn, that is a very, very difficult question to answer.
It is.
Because clearly it's all about the individuals and who they are. I would comment that the thought process, normally driven by parents, in the right one, has been grades, and then high school, then college, and then a law degree or MBA. But I will tell you that today, at the level of MBA and lawyers and so forth, there are not a lot of jobs there either. Okay, not what they were before. So that's a path that's well mowed, and it's very successful for almost everyone. On the other hand, I think if a young person, and if you could, with counseling or just with sitting down and talking to yourself or your friends and so forth, maybe the alternative is you would get to the level of education which you're comfortable with, and then decide, okay, fine, and let's say that's high school, and you get out of high school and say, well, let me go someplace, get myself a job, learn to do something, and it might seem menial at the time, being a welder, or you don't have to start as an Indian chief, you don't have to be on the way to being an Indian chief. They are what they are. But the question is, get started, get a trade, get something, get in the workforce, get yourself, grow up a little bit, and you can always go back. Just think of the county Tri-C, which I'm a little involved with. I mean, there are 20-some thousand students down there, and 80% of them are temporary or part-time, or the same with Cleveland State. So this community is filled with colleges around every single corner. You can always go to college. Okay, stay on the path that people have talked about. But once you go to something, learn something, and take some courses at night or during the day or something, and get started, you'll understand if education or what level of education will work for you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work for everyone, but it's a individual process, and this is where your parents, your relatives, your guidance. I mean, you really have to start asking, is this the best route for me? And it's hard when you're young to dig that out. But there are people that will help. They want to help, and quite frankly, I think you can do a lot of this yourself by just sitting down and saying, okay, do I really want to do it this way? How about this way? Yeah, that's the first step to being an entrepreneur. It's the first step of taking charge of where you're going to be in the future.
And don't be afraid of competition.
Well, not afraid of competition. Don't be afraid of yourself. I mean, one of the things that I've found, and so many people are just, again, it comes down to this concept. Look up the word rejection. I mean, you've got to have confidence in yourself. And, that's first. Forget about other people. What they have in you is okay. That is what it is. But yourself is important. You got to get yourself convinced that you are special, that you are someone that's going to be special. You understand it. Maybe you haven't proven that to anyone yet. Maybe you don't want to prove it to anyone yet. Just work on yourself. Take charge of yourself at a very young age. And then from that basis, you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere. So any effort that you're willing to spend, even if like today, just take a half-hour walk around, go ride your bike someplace, and stop and get off and say, "Now, who am I?" I mean, it sounds like a big story, a big conversation, but it's not. It's just dealing with yourself. Get good with yourself. You'll get good with the rest of the world.
Thank you, Eddie.